obviously there's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations, especially dealing with, anyone on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But you learn to appreciate the little things, like I kind of previously discussed. You learn that the little milestones, just him, saying certain words or being affectionate and stuff like that means everything.
Right.
And you gotta appreciate those successes.
Welcome to the Parent Trap Podcast, where we keep it real about raising neurodivergent children. I'm your forever host, Mike Reynolds, and today we're highlighting the voices that are heard the least but often carry the most weight, the parents. If you know me, you know I'm all facts, so let's jump in and see how this one little human changed your life, not just as a parent, but as a person.
Welcome to the Parent Trap, episode 6. Obviously, I'm not at the crib right now. I'm on a golf course. It's Friday. The homies wanted to play, so I said, let's run it. But we had to do an episode while I do it. And so that's why we're here. I got a special guest with me, my boy Jacob Jackson here. Met him a few years ago. We'll get into the history and stuff. But Jacob, tell the people about you really quick.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Glad to be on, finally. Kind of talked about it for a minute. Mike said he was going to invite me about 8 years ago.
The inception.
So like Mike said, we're on the golf course, and I finally got on the channel, and what a better way to do it than be on a Friday morning playing some golf. But name's Jacob, obviously family man. I got 2 kids. Got a daughter who's 11. Think she's 18, she's 11.
I bet.
Grows up so fast. And then I got a 5-year-old son who is on the spectrum. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But 2 kids, and my son Liam, he's obviously he has some autism, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's been a long time coming, but we made it
finally.
And you guys will hear some shanks, some curse words, some birds, some trees,
some people in the bushes.
Yeah, but you guys enjoy the content today. All right, Jay, so we're gonna open up here. Question 1, hole 1. I know you mentioned Liam here just being on the spectrum. So what was kind of like, you and your wife's red flags, first signs that, something was just a little bit different?
Yeah, I think, honestly, the main thing was when he was around 2 years old, you kind of see more of the nonverbal, wasn't really making eye contact. I think we kind of noticed it around that time. And from my daughter to my son, it was just like a whole 180.
Yeah.
So we kind of had an idea, a little skeptical at first and a little denial, but we saw some red flags and we noticed it right away. So our thing was try to get them help as soon as we can. So
gotcha. And then how did you kind of deal with that, initial denial? I know for some parents it's difficult to actually start services or think that their son or daughter may be, neurodivergent. So how'd you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, honestly, it was rough, man. I think, I'll be completely honest, when you first hear about, autism, there's a lot of uncertainty that goes through your head.
Yeah.
And, obviously, with my son, it's something that is not expected.
Yeah.
And it was a little, I would say we were first, me and my wife, we were in denial a little bit, but we had to accept it for what it is. It's obviously my son, and the best thing we can do is just get him help as soon as we can.
Exactly.
Right. That was our best option. But the first step of, dealing with it is acceptance.
Yeah.
And accepting that, my son may have autism. Now what's the next step?
Exactly. Yeah. And I tell parents all the time that the earlier the better. Early intervention is definitely key. So we can, I'd rather work with Liam at 2 years old than if he's 13 or 14, right? And so I think you and your wife did a great job on, understanding, like you said, what could be wrong, and then looking for resources, because Liam is most important at this time, right?
Yep.
Liam is the only thing that you guys want to help, because obviously autism is a lifelong diagnosis. You can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
So let's get him help as soon as possible to mitigate or help him live a more socially significant life.
Correct. Yep.
All right, cool. So I don't even know what question you're at. We're just spitballing now. So 9 holes, 9 questions is out the window. We're just freestyling and going with the flow. All right, Jay. So we talked about early intervention, and we're driving, by the way. So if I hit some bumps or if we crash, just understand it's all good. We'll be all right. But Jay, you mentioned early intervention and stuff, and so tell me just about that overall therapy process from when Liam started to the therapist that he started with to maybe his current services that he's receiving, and just how it's going, how it went, and where kind of Liam is right now.
Yeah, so honestly, the process took a little bit of time. My wife did all the paperwork, and we had to cross our T's and dot our I's to get to where we're at now.
Yeah.
And the first therapist we had, very young, came in, and we're obviously skeptical, right? We have somebody coming into our home and teaching our son or trying to get my son back on the right track, I would say.
Yeah.
And she came in. She was very young. I want to say she was like 19. So
okay.
It looked like it potentially could be her first job.
Yeah. Okay.
And so me and my wife are a little skeptical about it, just because I feel like experience means everything.
Of course.
And not necessarily mean that she didn't know how to do her job, but when you have some kind of resume to back it up,
yeah,
it's that much more in depth and more development, I would say.
Yeah.
And so great person though. She came in and she worked with my son until he was 3, so she was with him for about 9 months.
Okay.
And we obviously grew a relationship.
Yeah.
She grows a relationship with my son, as well as a relationship with her. But my main thing was, a lot of people, I think, the first thing that you think when a therapist comes in, I think some people initially think babysitter.
Oh, for sure.
And that's not, something that me and my wife ever.
It's not time to play.
No,
it's time for games.
Yeah. And so, me and my wife are very involved.
Yeah.
In the whole development of my son. It just wasn't my therapist coming over and working with my son, because that's just one leadership style. The parent, it comes from us first,
right? Exactly.
It comes from me and my wife to
generalize
what,
yes, what Liam's being taught.
Correct.
And all that stuff. So
correct.
Okay, cool. So dope. I know you mentioned, man, just inexperienced staff. I think in the field in general, we do get a lot of first timers that do see it on YouTube and on TV, and it's like, oh my God, it's so great, it's so fun. They think it is daycare until shit hits the fan.
Yes.
Right?
So they actually put in the situation.
Exactly. So obviously you guys had that experience, and you've had, I'm sure, other therapists come in the home and work with your family as well. So let's talk about just Liam's progress overall, like where he started from to where he's at, maybe if it's with his speech, communication, socialization, maybe with his sister as well. Just overall, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so about 2.5 years with the the whole program, and getting him the help and assistance that he needs.
Yeah.
And sorry if it's a little louder over here.
No, man.
Still driving.
I'm in the rough, but it's all good. Up and down.
No, it's he's definitely showed so much progress. I couldn't be more proud of where he's at.
Yeah.
Obviously, we still have a lot of work to do. But he was very, I would just say, he just was nonverbal, non-eye contact, and he's a sweet little boy. And now he's saying mama, dada, and he's definitely picked up a lot more words, and that's beautiful to see. It's one of the best things I would say is not taking those things for granted.
Yeah.
And I think for my daughter, it was just so easy hearing those words. She was talking at like 1.
Yeah.
And compared to my son, who's barely saying first couple words
at
like 4 years old.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah,
you learn to appreciate it that much more.
Yeah.
And
I think the thing is that comparison, I always say, is the thief of joy. So obviously Liam to his sister.
Yeah.
But then it seems like you guys made that switch, and you're like, we're gonna meet Liam where he's at.
Correct.
So it's gonna take Liam as long as it takes. And
Yep.
we're gonna get him to, where he needs to be, or where he wants to be.
And I think that was one of the main conversations that me and my wife had was, Mila was doing this and Mila was doing that. But no, we had to learn that it's at his own development.
Exactly.
And he's gonna learn
at his own pace.
Yeah. And from where he's at, now compared to when he was a lot younger, man, it's I would say just so much development he has done as far as the words he's using, eye contact now, and he's still not saying stuff in sentences, and that's stuff that we're working on.
Yeah.
But definitely, he has shown so much progress. Couldn't be more proud of him.
Hell yeah, man. So that's great to hear. Here comes the marshal. Hold on, guys. We'll be right back. The marshal is on our ass. Cool. So obviously well, like I said, the marshal's off our ass now.
About time.
Got a couple of drinks. We figured out we're not the problem because we're still backed up here on hole 9. So it's all good. But yeah, we were talking just about intervention, the process in general. And let's talk about the difficult times, man, within ABA, the tears, the tantrums, the extinction, all the, kind of cute terminology that we use. How did it feel in the moment, with Liam starting services? And obviously there's that relationship building with not only Liam and the new person, but with the family dynamic, you and your wife and his sister in general. So what did the difficult times kind of look like for you and your wife?
Yeah, honestly, my son, there was a lot of struggles, man. A lot of struggles within my son. And what I mean by struggles is, the difficulties as far as the tantrums.
Yeah.
And, him, the behavioral aspect,
Yeah.
right? I think the main part for me, though, Mike, was the communication part.
Okay.
And I think this is probably one of the main reasons why he was acting up and, throwing his tantrum is the gap in communication, right? I can't understand what he wants or what he's saying or how he's feeling at the time.
Yeah.
But we went through a lot of struggles, and we still go through struggles now, but, and I could just name a couple. Just it's very difficult taking him out to, certain stores or out to eat. Obviously it's gotten better, but I think a lot of people think autism is like a limitation.
Of course.
And to me, it's not. It's just a different way of experiencing the world for him. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean he's limited. It's just a different way of experiencing the world for him. And I learned that, we as well had to develop ourselves as parents to guide ourselves with him through every aspect.
Right.
And, every chapter is a challenge. And, the main struggles is obviously, like I said, just taking them out and going to certain places. Like, we can't think for ourselves.
Right.
We have to think worst case scenario for Liam and then best case scenario.
Right.
Like this potentially could happen if we go here.
Yeah.
How are we going to adapt?
Exactly.
Because another issue, not even just for my son, is just, the arguments having with my wife.
Yeah.
Dealing with my son who's throwing a tantrum, because it's really easy to let, I would say, a child dictate attitude and
your feelings.
Yeah. So
as a parent,
we had to adapt. We talk every day before we go out, where we're going.
Yeah.
And this is worst case scenario, what we're going to do. Obviously we hope for the best, but there's possibility for the worst.
Exactly.
But I never want that to limit us from not going out. And I think that was, part of it in the beginning was, the fear of going out because we knew this could happen.
Right.
And when it does happen, because it has, it's like, all right, we shouldn't go out again.
Right.
That can't be the that can't be the outcome.
Yeah.
We got to continue to take him out. There's only one way he's going to learn.
Exactly.
And that's through experience
and repetition
and routine.
Yeah.
And yes, we expect the worst case scenario to happen, but how can the best case scenario happen if we don't even take the chance to take him out?
And I love that you said that, man. And I'm going to piggyback on what we talked about. I think it was 4 to 6 weeks ago. I think you mentioned Liam had I think it was like a dad's lunch at the park dad's lunch. And you were telling me, I don't know if it was before you went or after, but you were even like anxious, like, oh, how's my son going to do? What is he going to, how's he going to act? Last time this and that. So talk really quickly just on how that experience went with Liam at that, dad's luncheon.
Yeah, so that they had a little dad and child lunch at school. And when that initially came out, me and my wife were thinking, oh, okay, we're probably not gonna do that, because I was thinking in the potential of when I pick him up, he's gonna initially think, okay, it's time to go home.
Yeah.
Right. So when but at the end of the day, I said, you know what? Like we just talked about, I can't expect the worst. I mean, I can't expect the worst, but I can't.
You can't live in it.
Yeah,
you can't live in it. You can't dwell in it. You can't stop that from you having an experience with your son.
No. Yeah. So, I have to take those chances and those risks, and I want him to develop. So, and I don't want to miss out on a golden opportunity. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm his dad, and I want to experience every moment I can with him.
So how did it go when you got there? What was
so picked him up, saw me.
Did he expect to go home?
No.
See?
No.
Right. That worst case scenario.
And that's what's like, but you expect maybe this could happen, but you gotta give it a chance.
Right.
You gotta give it a chance.
So you gotta give it a chance, man. You gotta give it a chance to kind of activate and work and put it into motion.
Yes, and it was the most beautiful thing ever, man. I got Wava Girl, picked him up, grabbed his hand, and he walked with me straight into the school, into the back area where the grass is at. And there's other parents, obviously other dads in there with their kids.
Right.
And it just felt like, okay, this is beautiful, man. He's actually sat down, Mike, ate food with me, and it was just like, dang, I could have potentially missed out on this great opportunity because I was living in fear that the potential of him throwing a tantrum or the potential of him not wanting to go.
Right.
But, by me just giving that opportunity, he did great.
He showed out.
Showed out. He showed up and showed out.
He said, look, Pops, look what I can do.
Man.
And like
ball up top. That's what he said. Ball up top.
And so, like you said, that's a memorable experience that you both have at this moment. And so that's one like core memory, right? And then so the next opportunity comes, you're like, oh shit, me and Liam, we had Waba Girl on the crib. Yeah, we're gonna run it back. So, oh yeah, man, that's a dope story. I love hearing that. All right, so we talked about the barriers, the worst case scenarios, kind of you and your wife, and how pretty much you guys just don't let that stop you from those experiences. And obviously we just talked about the dad, kind of lunching on how well Liam did in that situation. And so where's Liam currently at kind of with ABA and therapy? Is there something that he may be struggling with at the moment that you want, other parents to kind of hear or maybe they can relate to?
Yeah. So Liam right now, he's 5 years old. He'll actually be 6 in November. So he's creeping up on being 6. But I think our biggest struggle right now is he's not potty trained yet.
Okay.
And normally you probably would think, okay, 3, 4 years old,
right?
Maybe even 5, they're already potty trained, but he just does not do well when it comes to the restroom.
Okay.
That's one of the things that we're working on. We try to do it multiple times throughout the day so it becomes routine.
Yeah.
Right. So get him used to being in the restroom.
Right.
Like even if it's just as simple as just washing his hands.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we have him sitting down on the toilet with full clothes.
Yeah.
Right. I need him getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's still progress. It's still progress. It's some days he does well, some days he doesn't. But that's our hardest, I would say, for right now, our hardest aspect with dealing with Liam right now is the potty training.
Yeah, and you're not alone, man. I would say a lot of neurodivergent children do struggle with just the sensory overall feeling of voiding in the toilet, whether it's taking their clothes off, actually, releasing their bowels or washing their hands, or the lights are too bright or the toilet's too loud.
Yeah.
There's so many factors that go into toilet training, especially with a lot of our younger kiddos, where it's, like you said, it has to be repetition.
Correct.
And we have to desensitize our kiddos in some aspect because it's a naturally body function, right? They have to go to the restroom. We have to get this skill taken care of sooner than later, because obviously I'm assuming you don't want to, wipe Liam's butt when he's 18 or 19, right? So,
not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
That's one of those things that a lot of families do dread, but it's definitely a priority because, like I said, it's an everyday natural thing. So you're not alone with that, brother. I talk with parents all the time with toileting issues and routines and task analysis that, I give to them to kind of help them with that process. But it seems like you and your wife have that routine and you guys have that structure. So I would say just keep at it, obviously. And like you said, Liam creates his own pace.
Yes.
I think that's been the running theme, is that Liam does things when he's ready.
Yep.
And so just follow Liam's pace, and you and your wife will be all right. All right, man. So yeah, we're making it through the day. Quick update. I'm about 6 under.
Yeah. Okay.
Where you at?
7 over to the front, and I am 2 over on the back right now. But we don't even care about the scores. We're all here for the vibes.
Right,
It's
right.
good to get out,
And
spend time with my boy.
All right, I wish I was 6 under, but I am 13 under, or 13 over. I'm sorry, on hole 11. So bogey golf. That's what I expect out of myself.
That's right.
But last couple questions, dude, before we wrap up here. Last thing, I know you kind of mentioned earlier, just the dynamics with you, your wife, and obviously Liam and Mila. So how do you and your wife kind of work through things day to day, communication? I'll take care of Liam, you get Mila, vice versa. If worst case does happen in the community, like what's you guys' like communication styles?
Yeah. Communication is the biggest thing, especially, just us being married.
Right.
Communication is the number one part of keeping everything whole, man. And
Yeah.
with especially with my son, communication is we do that every single day. We communicate before we go out, and how we do it is, we discuss different things in the sense of, who's gonna watch Liam, who if I gotta be the person to, pick up my son and get up out of there, de-escalate the situation or whatever it is. But me and my wife, man, that's my partner, bro. And what I don't pick up, she picks up, and she gets my slack and vice versa. But with my son, it's always a daily communication when we're going out as a family, right? Even if it's just as simple as Applebee's or to the park or anything like that. Now on Sundays, it may not be talked about, pre-planned, but in that area or in that atmosphere, in that certain situation, sometimes it's more of like, hey, I got Liam.
Yeah.
You go ahead and enjoy this moment with Mila.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the hardest parts as well, is making sure that my daughter is still having a good time and still enjoying herself, because a lot of our attention is dealing with my son.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't not neglect my daughter and making sure that she's not enjoying herself either. So it's that, okay, I'm gonna watch Liam or vice versa, and you spend time with Mila, or you go on this ride, you know what I mean? Because it can't just be all on Liam. It can't just be, all on one person. It takes two parents to make it work.
Right.
And so I think, 100% it's on communication. And it was rough in the beginning, because I'll be honest with you, we would argue.
Of course.
It was so quick to argue, because he would act up and we would argue, because it's like we get mad at each other. And it's like, oh, you grab him, or I'm gonna leave. Now that we communicate prior to it or even during, it's just a lot better, because we know, hey, this is what's gonna happen. It's already pre-planned. Right. Instead of putting ourselves in a situation where nothing is talked about, and now we're both angry at each other, or me getting up and leaving, or me or her grabbing my son and stepping away for 5 minutes or whatever. Right. We have to have that Nico maybe a shot.
Yeah. You guys have to have that talk.
Yes.
Right. Prior to, just mapping it out. And I think what I want to highlight right there is, yes, the communication is great. And yes, you and your wife work well together, but you also brought in Mila as well. I think Mila's the important part here, because you never want to leave a sibling out or neglect a sibling just due to, another child. And so definitely siblings of kids on the spectrum usually do feel left out sometimes, or they do feel neglected. And so I'm glad that you and your wife, work together to prioritize Mila, her feelings and emotions as well, because I'm sure she sees Liam having therapy. I know I talked to a parent that was like, well, his son had autism and his daughter didn't, but the daughter was like, I want therapy. I want autism too, because she saw her brother getting all the attention. And so I'm glad you guys kind of understood and noticed that, and use it as like, okay, cool, let's focus on Mila today, or let's take her to her favorite restaurant or park or something like that.
That's so important. And it's because you touched right on it. It's so easy to get caught up in just dealing with my son who has autism and forget about that my daughter having her moment or her feelings. And so you touched right on, and I think it's so important that it's not just about him, it's just about us as a family. Right. It's going to be a little difficult, because it's a little different world, with my son. But we still have to enjoy us as a family. Whether regardless of how the outcome is what outcome is gonna be, we have to enjoy each other as a family. And I think it's very important that Mila gets her little shine too, because a lot of our attention does go on my son. It really does. And a lot of our energy. And so it's so easy to neglect or to, be forgotten, especially she's 11 years old and she's already coming as a teenager and so forth. So, and she knows how my son can be. And honestly, she's a big help.
Yeah.
She's a big help. Yeah. She's a big help.
Oh, man. I love to hear that. I love to hear the dynamic, the communication, just the overall plan as a family and a unit. It seems like you guys really got it down. All right, Jay. So we're wrapping up here. I think we're on like 16 beautiful views, beautiful course.
Great vibes.
Beautiful conversation. So as we wrap up here, what is one final thought that you might give, a parents that may be on the fence or having red flags or noticing just differences or, already in the process or going through it? What would you, tell them or let them know, as a parent that's going through it yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, I don't even think it's one thing. I would just say, man, you gotta keep it pushing. You gotta keep trying. I mean, there's gonna be plenty of tantrums, and the thing is, I actually have it tatted on me right now. It's there's beauty in the struggle.
Oh,
and what I mean by that is that obviously there's gonna be a lot of trials and tribulations, especially dealing with anyone on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But you learn to appreciate the little things, like I kind of previously discussed. You learn that the little milestones, just him, saying certain words or being affectionate and stuff like that. That means everything.
Right.
And you gotta appreciate those successes.
Yeah.
Right. And I think as a parent with autism, I know how bad it can be. I know how bad it can be. Trust me. Yeah. I've been through the very lows, and I know some parents go through the situation I'm going through, but even at 10 times worse.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you do see the daylight at the end of the tunnel,
right? Because
there's so many positive experiences, and you are, as a parent, you will continue to see some positive experiences, and that's what's got to keep you pushing.
Yeah.
Right. Don't focus so much on the negative or on the tantrums or on the stuff where, I'll be real with you, it in the beginning, it was kind of embarrassing. A lot of other parents that don't deal with what I had to deal with maybe don't see what I see or feel what I feel.
Yeah.
Right. So the initial reaction when I'm out and about is you see a lot of eyes.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Right. And that can be kind of, at first, I would say, lack of a better word, embarrassing, or, you feel kind of, because a lot of people don't know what you're going through.
Exactly.
And a lot of people, and not saying as a parent what I'm going through, but what my son is going through at that time.
Right.
Right. And so I try to view, I try to view being a parent with a kid with autism as just looking at life in a different way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed, obviously, in the sense of we're still got to do the same stuff.
Right.
It's still daily. Everything is routine. I still got to do the same stuff every single day.
Nothing changes.
So nothing changes. I just got to adapt with the way, my son is picking up and stuff like that. So I feel like as a parent, my main thing is just to keep it pushing and don't fall short of getting into the negative of, the bad times.
Right.
And I think that happens so much, is that parents go through it. With parents that have kids with autism, they go through it so much where they feel like
they're alone, they're isolated.
Man, they're alone, they're isolated. They there's no hope. But then, I go on social media and I look at other parents going through the same stuff as me, and I'm like, or even worse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Like, it's not that bad.
Right.
It's everyone's going through a certain situation. Everyone's going through it. And for me, for my advice is I would just say, there's gonna be light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And don't stop the progress. Incremental gains is gains.
Yeah.
Incremental gains is gains.
Progress is progress.
And progress is progress. And I would never compare. It's a funny story. My neighbor right next door to me, his daughter actually has autism too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she's a little bit more severe than my son.
Yeah.
But I never compare. And the reason why is because I think that so many, as a parent, we tend to compare often.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's speaking, she's not, or she's potty trained, he's not. How old is he? My son is going to develop at his time and when he's ready.
Yeah.
So the best thing I can do is continue to put my front foot forward, and give him all the help I can right now while he's young.
Exactly.
Right? Because I got to do my part.
Yeah.
And as a parent, we have to do our part.
Right.
We can easily neglect, our kids, or not even our kids, but we can easily neglect the situation of, okay, my kid's autistic, I'm just going to hold off. Or I'm going to wait on it. Or no, that's the worst thing to do.
Right.
The best thing to do is accept it and, get through it now and give them all the help you can.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we think as a parent, oh man, I have it bad.
Right.
No, but what about him?
Exactly.
What about him? Or what he's got to go through.
Right.
For the rest of his life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Not on us, it's on him.
Right.
So
yeah, man, I love that. Thanks for the words of advice, man. I think just to wrap everything up, man, Liam goes at his own pace. And we're along for the ride.
Yep.
And so like you said, you got to tat it on you. Beauty is in the struggle.
Yep.
So it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but that's not going to stop us from loving on our kids, teaching our kids, or getting the resources that they need to succeed in life, man. So, man, beautiful day. Almost at 18. We made it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, bro.
I
Thanks for
appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah.
Mike, such a good dude, very transparent, very black and white. And, I appreciate letting me be on the channel.
Of course,
and, giving me this opportunity to express, me being a parent with, my son with autism and stuff like that means the world, because I know there's a lot of other families that go through the same situation I'm going through. So, in order for me to spread awareness, it's not just through the month of April, it's all year long.
Right.
And a lot of people think that it's just April. No, it's all year long for me. And
Right.
so anyone that's going through it just as much as me, our best bet is keep pushing that awareness and keep doing your part.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Brick.
Of course, I
Appreciate it, Mike. Thank you.
Later.
If you listened and this episode resonated with you, whether it made you laugh, cry, think a little bit harder, or just inhale a little bit deeper, know that this space is for you. So make sure to like, follow, subscribe to The Parent Trap LLC on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, just to keep the conversation going. If interested in being a part of this podcast, hit me up on Instagram or send me an email at theparenttrap3@gmail.com. Until next time, take care of yourselves and keep showing up and being you.